Assalamu alaikum. Hello, dear Muslim friends. May you always be under Allah's protection, granted good health, abundant sustenance, and kept away from all harm. In today's video, we will thoroughly discuss cats in Islam. Did Prophet Muhammad really have a cat named Muezza? Are cats considered impure? What if cat hair sticks to our clothes during prayer? Inshallah, we'll go through it in simple language, but still based on authentic evidence. Let's get started. 1. Popular story: the Prophet Muhammad's cat and Muezza. Dear Muslim friends, among Muslims there is a well-known story that the Prophet Muhammad had a pet cat named Muezza. According to the often told tale, one day the Prophet Muhammad was sitting at home and a cat had fallen asleep on the sleeve of his robe. When the time for prayer arrived, the Prophet stood to perform his worship. However, seeing that the cat was sleeping soundly, he did not wish to disturb it. Instead of waking the cat, the Prophet chose to cut off the portion of his sleeve that the cat was resting on. In this way, the cat could continue sleeping peacefully, and he could still proceed to pray calmly. This story is often cited as an example of the noble character of the Prophet Muhammad and how he treated animals with gentleness and compassion. Even towards a small cat, he could not bear to disturb it while it slept. However, it is important for us to understand that this story is not recorded in authentic hadith, and the name Muezza is never mentioned directly in any verified narration. This tale has grown in popularity within Muslim traditions, especially in Islamic literature and culture in various regions such as the Middle East and Asia. That said, the essence of the story is not entirely incorrect. The Prophet Muhammad's compassion for animals, including cats, is indeed true and is supported by many authentic hadith. One example is the hadith about a woman who was punished for imprisoning a cat without feeding it, showing that mistreating cats is a major sin in Islam. In other words, while the name Muezza is not part of authentic hadith, the values of mercy and kindness that the Prophet Muhammad showed towards animals are real and worthy of our example. Two, the ruling on keeping cats in Islam. Dear Muslim friends, a common question among the community is it permissible to keep a cat in Islam? The answer is yes. It is permissible, and it can even become an act of worship, depending on one's intention and the way the animal is treated. Scholars agree that keeping a cat is not only allowed, but can be a good deed if the animal is cared for responsibly. We do not find any prohibition in the Quran or authentic hadith that declares keeping a cat to be forbidden or haram. On the contrary, cats have long lived alongside humans, even during the time of the Prophet Muhammad. In the hadith literature, we also know of a companion of the Prophet Muhammad who was famous for his love of cats, Abu Huraira. His real name was Abdurrahman bin Shakhar, but the Prophet Muhammad gave him the nickname Abu Huraira, meaning father of the kitten, because he was known to carry a kitten with him wherever he went. This nickname was not meant to belittle him, but rather as a sign of affection and closeness to the animal. From this, we can see that there is no criticism at all in loving and caring for cats. In fact, if we keep a cat properly, feeding it, cleaning its living space, ensuring its health, this can be a righteous deed worthy of reward, as other hadith mention that feeding animals is one form of compassion that is pleasing to Allah. Of course, all of this must be done within the boundaries of Islamic law. We are still obligated to maintain cleanliness in our homes, clothes, and places of worship, and most importantly, we must never harm or neglect our cats. So, dear Muslim friends, if you are keeping or thinking of keeping a cat, don't hesitate. As long as you care for it well, inshallah, it can become a source of reward and a way to emulate the Prophet Muhammad's mercy towards all living beings. Three minus are cats, considered impure. Dear Muslim friends, this is one of the questions that often arises, especially for those who have cats at home. Are cats considered impure, najis? The answer is no. In Islam, cats are not considered impure as long as they have not come into contact with visible filth or actual impurities. This is affirmed in the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, in which he said, "Indeed, the cat is not impure. It is one of the creatures that roam freely among you." Narrated by Abu Dawud, number 75, al-Tirmidhi, number 92. Graded Hasan Sahih by Imam al-Tirmidhi. This hadith shows that cats are regarded as pure animals according to Islamic law, as they naturally live among humans and frequently come into contact with clothing, furniture, and places of worship. Of course, if a cat comes into contact with impurity such as urine or feces, then that impurity must still be cleaned in accordance with the rules. But as long as the cat is clean, touching it does not invalidate wudu, nor prevent a person from performing acts of worship. 4. Is prayer valid if it comes into contact with cat hair or saliva? Dear Muslim friends, one common concern often felt by cat owners is regarding prayer. For example, when about to perform salah, we might find cat hair on our clothes. Or perhaps earlier we were petting our cat and some of its saliva got on us. The question is, does this invalidate the prayer? The answer is no. As long as there is no visible impurity such as feces or urine, cat hair and saliva do not invalidate the prayer. This aligns with the opinion of scholars, including the explanation of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin in Sharh al-Mumti, that the hair of a pure animal, such as a cat, does not affect the validity of the prayer, even if it remains on the clothing. This is also supported by the reality that cats have lived alongside humans since the time of the Prophet Muhammad. If their hair were to invalidate prayer, there would surely have been a clear prohibition from the beginning. This means what we need to pay attention to is cleanliness. If our cat is healthy and free from impurities, then, inshallah, there is no problem. So, dear Muslim friends who keep cats, there is no need to be overly anxious. Prayer remains valid as long as clothing and the body are clean from visible impurities. 5. Authentic hadith about animals and cats. Dear Muslim friends, one clear proof that Islam places great importance on animals, including cats, is an authentic hadith narrated by Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim. The Messenger of Allah said, "A woman was sent to hell because of a cat. She confined it and did not feed it, nor did she allow it to eat from the insects of the earth." Narrated by al-Bukhari number 3318 and Muslim number 2242. This hadith is very clear. The woman was punished not because she physically abused the cat, but because she neglected it until the animal died of starvation. This shows that Islam obligates its followers to treat animals with full responsibility and compassion. Even acts such as failing to feed a pet can be a cause for divine punishment if done intentionally and without mercy. Conversely, in another hadith, it is mentioned that a man was forgiven his sins because he gave water to a thirsty dog. These two hadiths illustrate that in Islam, neither kindness nor cruelty toward animals is taken lightly. Islam regards all living beings as a trust, amana, that must be cared for, including pets, such as cats. Dear Muslim friends, let us summarize. Cats are not impure animals. Keeping them is allowed in Islam. Cat hair does not invalidate prayer, and treating animals well is part of a Muslim's character. We hope this video adds to your knowledge and answers common questions. If you enjoy content like this, don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe so you don't miss other interesting Islamic videos on this channel. See you in the next video. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I conclude, please allow me to sincerely apologize if in this presentation there were any words that were inappropriate or unintentional mistakes. As a human, I am certainly not free from errors. May Allah forgive all my shortcomings and mistakes, and I hope that you all can forgive me as well. My hope is that what has been conveyed today can become beneficial knowledge and bring us closer to His pleasure. Thank you for your attention and patience.